Hejsan Allihopa! Välkomna! Come on in! Welcome back to my messy kitchen, or welcome if it's your first time here. So today I'm gonna make lemon cookies. These are really easy to make, and I'll link the original recipe down below in case you want to make them. I highly recommend you do because they're really tasty and they're easy to make. So if you're interested to see how to make these lemon cookies, then please keep on watching. So for this recipe, I would recommend that you use a KitchenAid or something similar if you have it. A handheld mixer would also work, but this one does make it a lot easier and quicker to make. And also I would use one of these because this one scrapes the bowl at the same time as it's mixing it, which makes it a lot easier when you're making the cookies. So let's just put this on and then lock it and plug it in. So this recipe tells you to mix your dry ingredients in a separate bowl and then mix your sugar and butter in one bowl until it's light and fluffy. I usually start with the butter and sugar and put it in the KitchenAid and let it work its magic while I'm doing the other steps. So let's start with the butter. So you need 1 stick of butter, and 1 stick is 113 grams. And then we're gonna add the sugar, and you're gonna add 1 cup of sugar. Let's turn the KitchenAid on. And you want to use room temperature butter because if it's really cold, it's really hard for the KitchenAid to get it nice and fluffy. So while the KitchenAid is mixing the butter and the sugar, I'm gonna zest my lemon and squeeze the juices out of it. I forgot to mention, when you zest the lemon, only get the yellow part, not the white part, because that can be bitter. And then we're just gonna press the juice out. It's easy if you have one of these juicers. So here you have the juice. This recipe requires 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I just use whatever I get from 1 lemon, and also zest from 1 lemon. So as you may be able to see, the butter and sugar is nice and fluffy now. And now we can add the egg, the zest, and the juice into the mixture. Crack an egg. If you want to add food coloring to your cookies to make them look more yellow, you can add it now, but I'm not gonna do that. So let's just mix it. So then we're gonna mix the dry ingredients in a separate bowl, and you need 1.5 cups of flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and a pinch of salt. If you use salted butter, I'm sure you can leave the salt out because otherwise they'll be too salty, but I'm using unsalted butter. And then we're just gonna mix these well. So mix, 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 mix. And then we're gonna add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients. Add a little bit at a time. I don't have a splash shield for this, so I'm just gonna go boop, boop, boop. And I do that to try to avoid it going everywhere, you know? So, let's add, unlock. Add some more of the flour mixture. So now that the dough is done, I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator for an hour and let it cool down. I'll see you in a little bit. So now that the dough is chilled, I put some icing sugar on a plate, and I have a cookie scooper. And you want to get approximately a tablespoon or so, a good sized tablespoon, and you just start to roll it up. And then we're gonna roll it in the icing sugar. Scoop out a good dollop. Oop, might be a little bit much. Roll it. Roll it in the icing sugar. So I was a little bit in a hurry, so I didn't let mine chill as long as I should have. And if you don't, it sticks to your hands, which is not that pleasant, but I'm sure it will be fine even though it hasn't been an hour. Just if it's too warm, it will stick to your hands a little bit, so. Makes it harder to roll them. So the oven has been preheated to 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're gonna bake these for around 13 to 14 minutes, of course depending on how your oven bakes. So let's put them in. So this is what they look like straight out of the oven. Let's wait a few minutes before moving them to the cooling rack. So here you have the finished cookies. Now I just have to wait for them to cool down before I can dig in. So I highly recommend that you try this recipe if you like lemon cookies. As I said, I'll link the original recipe down below in the description bar so you can try it yourself. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of me, I do makeup and baking and maybe a little bit cooking one day, who knows? And I hope to see you guys real soon. Hej då!